Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to my channel. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters, actually to all my viewers. I just really appreciate each and every one of you. But my Patreon supporters, you guys are like sort of, the financial backbone that keeps this channel afloat. Anyways, so I want to say thank you. If you want to subscribe, you can go over to patreon.com and you can pick a subscription level over there and support me in that way. Other ways of support is through sharing the videos, liking them, commenting on them, subscribing to the channel is a huge way to support. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I go live. And please like my business page on Facebook. All of my stuff on YouTube is up in the upper right-hand corner. All of my social media stuff, you can follow me at Instagram at Engelgeist333. Today is the Sunday forecast for the 10th through the 16th of May. This is always, it kicks off the energy for Sunday the 10th, but it also is the underpinning energy of what we're going to see throughout the week. So, or at least that's the intention. If you're seeing this on a date that doesn't fall within that week, that's okay. The message is always asked to be for the highest and greatest good of all that watch. So it might be reaching you at a different point in time, but that's okay. There still might be some valuable information or something that you're in sync with and need to hear. So keeping that in mind, don't turn off the video. It is a timeless message. So let's see what's going on here. So our beginning of the week card, let's see, is the Dreamer of Wands. So this is like the Page of Wands. Wands is the element of fire and the element of spirit. And when I look at this, it's sort of like this idea of peace. I almost feel like the beginning of this week is about us coming to sort of peace with our dreams, making decisions around how to have our goals. To me, it's funny, there's a lot of like imagery in this deck. With the wands, I don't know why there's so much water energy in the wands. It throws me off. But I'm gonna say this, like, I feel like wands being the element of fire in the spirit, it feels like emotionally we might be coming in line. This river here behind her, to me, feels calm and peaceful. And that fish sort of popping its head out reminds me of the Five of Wands that we saw where those fishermen were bringing that fish in from last week, right? To me, this Dreamer of Wands feels like, and I'm thinking about the Page of Wands, there's always something to be learned, right? There's always an enthusiastic nature to pages. And so this dreamer feels to me like there would be something enthusiastic, or the idea of dreaming, right? The idea of sort of connecting or being open to new ideas and learning from those things, learning from our own spirit, learning from our own emotional, like sort of settling, I feel like. And I don't mean settling in a bad way. I feel like our emotions are settling down. Right, we're settling into where we're at, how the world is. To me, there's this sort of peace to this card. I feel like that's this white bird here, and then the sun is shining down on her, and it's allowing her to sort of see that fish in the river of her emotions, that thing that she wants. To me, this fish seems to be the prize. This fish keeps like following us through this deck. I'm not sure, this goldfish. But like, to me, this is sort of the prize. So in the early part of the week, don't be surprised if we feel, hopefully most of you feel emotionally sort of at ease, or a little bit more graceful, a little bit more grace around you, a little bit more able to see sort of the possibilities in things. I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of movement in this card. I feel like she's sort of silently appreciating things from a position of, what's the word I'm looking for? From a position of being observant, right? Like, I feel like she's like, this is an opportunity for us to kind of touch base with our emotions and our spirit and look at what we want, maybe even have a conversation with what it is we want, or about what it is we want, and start to shed light on that so that we can bring about the idea of that maybe later in the week or in the weeks to come. But that's sort of this sun shining down on her and this calmness of this river and her standing by the river having a chat with the fish about like, what is it that she wants? How is it that we want it? And how are we gonna get it? Now! No, I mean, I feel like a cheerleader. And then this bird is bringing me this symbol of peace, right? This idea of spirit being there, sort of guiding us and allowing ourselves to dream again. Making those dreams sort of real again. All right, so let's look at the midweek card. The midweek card is the Seven of Swords. So swords is the element of air and the intellect. And to me, it feels like we've got our mind a-brewing. To me, also, I feel like time becomes an issue for some of us. And I think that part of the reason for that is this spinning, swirling energy, and it feels like a clock to me. This sword feels like the ticking of a clock, right? And I feel like whatever we were dreaming about, whatever ease we had in the beginning of the week, I feel like for some of us, we're going to lose it in the midweek. I don't feel like it's necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like there's a lot of drive, a lot of like mental focus being exerted in the midweek for us to kind of get those ideas across, get those ideas taken care of, done. I'm gonna kill that cat. I swear to God, every time I get online, he starts running through the house. To me, it feels like there's like this burning desire that's happening and we're running out of time. And I don't mean running out of time, but time becomes an issue. I'm looking at this cup above this man's head and I feel like he's got the idea, he knows what he wants. She's sort of maybe pondering in the early part of the week and she starts to get, like have this conversation with whatever it is she wants to bring in, and then it becomes like the actual act of mentally working about going about getting it in the midweek. And there's this issue about time or the ticking of seconds, the lining up of planets, or the lining up of, these are the cycles of the moon here, it looks like to me. But to me, this feels like almost the lining up of the planets, like trying to make the impossible happen. But I have a feeling we're gonna do it. Hold on. I just need to shut that door. I swear to God, that cat on these floors, he makes so much noise running up and down the hallway. To me, it feels like we're actually going to be able to do it or pull it off is sort of the sense that I'm getting. Like this to me feels like the rest, and then this is the mental exertion, or not exertion, but like focus that we need to sit in the calm in the midst of the storm as things sort of move around us, or the components move around us and things begin to change and the time becomes an issue. Not an issue, but like a focus, right? Like we need to like, how do I want to put it? Like, and this to me looks like a road, like some of us are headed somewhere as we put these ideas into motion and we start to focus on time. I'm sorry this is so sort of vague, but that's what I'm getting from these cards right now. All right, let's look at the third card, or the end of the week energy. The Ouroboros. And I believe this is the Wheel of Fortune. Let me just double check that. Which is a nice ending if it is. Let me just make sure that this is. The cat needs to like cut it out. It is the Wheel of Fortune. So to me, it feels like full circle moments. Things are lining up by the end of the week. We need to stay focused on, like, to me, there's a peace in the beginning of the week and a like a dreaminess to the beginning of the week that we want to keep in contact with. We want to be open to our emotional well-being and the idea of shining lights on that, dreaming a little bit, connecting to those dreams, and believing that they can become a reality. And as we set into that emotional piece, we begin to sort of set the clock for, or like the clock kicks off. The mental activity starts to happen. We start to like, to me, this, even though this is acting as like a clock hand to me, it's also, there's a clarity to this. I feel like there's this light coming out around this man and he has this idea or this burning cup, these burning emotions, these burning ideas of what he wants. And it starts to set about the road of getting it, lining up the planets or the cycles of the moon, the timing, and making that timing happen. And then this Wheel of Fortune feels to me like we're lining everything up. There's like this, even this crystal grid. We still have that fire around it. This pyramid reminds me of the pyramid we used to do in meditation. But to me, the Wheel of Fortune is always that sort of slow moving energy, right? Where we get what we focus on and we get to make the decision of where we sort of choose to focus our energy, right? We get if we're focusing on like things not happening in our favor, then we're going to turn the wheel in that direction. But if we're focusing on things happening in our favor, we turn the wheel in that direction. And to me, this looks like a full circle complete moment with this lizard sort of joining his tail here, but it also could be us chasing our own tail if we're not careful. So we have to understand where this fire is driving this pyramid or these crystal, this crystal energy here. I feel like there's a focus in all three of these cards that carries through this week. It's a bit more dreamy and peaceful and passive. It gets more active and intellectual here. And then here it's about allowing that fire to sort of burn underneath sort of us being centered and feeling complete, whole, and covered, or having taken care of our business. We have an opportunity here to bring something in rather successfully if we focus on that success. Now, some of us could just get focused more on the time of it and the stress of it, and this could spin, this energy could spin us. But again, we've got two circles working here. Again, the imagery of the circles, or this cyclical energy that I see here. We even have a circle up here in the sun, sort of, even though it's semicircle, but it represents as a circle. This is so weird. I don't know if I'm connecting to this correctly, but second, I'm gonna shuffle. Sorry, this isn't the best weekly, but I feel like our dreams are coming back to us. Our opportunities for change are actually coming into effect. Movement is about to take place. Are we going to be acknowledging that, honoring that, moving forward in that? Are we going to let, like, sort of, I don't want to say fear be our guide, but are we, running around in circles making no progress, or are we focusing solely on making progress and being clear about that, not only mentally but also emotionally, and seeing the rewards of that by the end of the week? That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from these cards. This could be a highly productive week for some of you, is the feeling that I'm getting. I would rest in the early part, get to into this mental place of sort of really almost like harnessing your brain, your thoughts, and making your thoughts work in your favor, because time might be working against you, or you might feel as though time is working against you. But I feel like this man is centered and he's sort of fighting against time, but making it work. He's sort of like manifesting, making it happen through his thoughts and being conscious of it. And then we start to see that sort of really become palpable by week's end, because we're now moving forward in this direction that like either will complete us or have us chasing our own tail, depending on which way we let the fires burn us. And again, we have this element of fire in the wands, we have this fire in this cup, and then we have this fire here. So to me, it's like, what fires are driving you? What are we focusing on? And how are we moving forward this week? That's going to be a key. There's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of dynamism in these cards for this week, with the exception, there's dynamism in this card here, but to me, it's about learning what we want, how we feel, and where we connect in its spirit, and then moving that into the mental realm and utilizing those thoughts to really sort of stir up that energy and move it. And then boom, we start to turn that wheel. Ooh, hello upper world, bitch. This is a cool card. Oh, the spirit world be coming in. Invite them. 5 and 9 is 14 is 5, which is change, which is all of the shit that I'm seeing in here. Okay. Right? Is that right? 5 and 9 is 14, which would be a 5, which would be change. Okay, so we've got change happening here, and the upper world is coming down to assist us. And again, we have another circle, 2 more circles happening here. I know this is weird, but there's something happening. I feel like there's cogs in a wheel, like I'm actually seeing cogs in a wheel shifting forward. That's this Wheel of Fortune energy. That's this 7 of Wands energy. We need to be conscious and aware that we are moving this energy forward. Are we moving it to our advantage or to our disadvantage is the question, guys. Let me look at upper world because I just dig this card. It feels like spirit coming down to help us. It feels like the clouds opening up, clarity coming in, and embracing that. This also feels like this 7 of Wands energy, which is this air element, or 7 of Swords energy, which is this air element kind of energy. To me, I love how these clouds are parting. We have all of these wings, which to me also feels like air element. So allowing the spirit world or spirit to come in and connect with us during this time would be really key. Having conversations with spirit, chasing sort of those dreams in the early part, right? In this Dreamer of Wands, allowing the upper world to come in and talk to us. That would be this fish or this bird. The fish could be our dreams. What do we want to net? What bounty do we want to bring in? Allowing the spirit world, upper world to come in the early part of the week, then working with that upper world throughout the middle part of the week through our thoughts to really bring about this Wheel of Fortune energy at the end of the week. Let me see what upper world says. 59. The essence, angels, divine helpers, the ancient ones, and all varieties of luminous beings populate the upper world. It is a place where you go to retrieve your destiny and find out who you will become. Discover your great potentials and undreamt of possibilities. It is also the place where the spirits of the dead arrive when they complete their journey into the light. That's part of this energy here too, this Dreamer of Wands. This is us connecting to the upper world in the beginning of the week and then allowing that upper world to come back in response and carry us through the week into these changes. The invitation, the upper world is calling you to step into your fully realized self. Clear distractions so that you can move into a higher destiny. Do not fall to the temptation to craft a slightly more improved version of yourself. Let's say that again. Do not fall to the temptation to craft a slightly more improved version of yourself. When you perceive what you perceive as a problem or an obstacle is in fact the irritation you need to help to take the great leap. That's this sort of, what are we focusing on in this Wheel of Fortune? Are we chasing our own tail, or are we actually making progress and completing cycles and moving forward? Remember, you cannot cross the Grand Canyon in 2 small jumps. The medicine, ask your divine helpers for guidance. If the oracle has already spoken to you, do not ask for more guidance. Take what has been offered. Now you must deal with the lethargy and idleness. While support for a new destiny is not yet in place, a new destination is available to you if you act now. So guys, there's movement happening this week. Where and what are you moving? How are you changing? Figure that out in the beginning of the week. Allow the upper world in to have that conversation with you or to help guide that conversation. And then start to intellectually or mentally act on that by the midweek. All right, let's look to the grounding stone. Sorry this is taking so long. Sort of these cards kind of take me to this weird sort of place. Okay, so we're going to ground on obsidian, and the stone is energy. So our energy is going to be key this week. Where we channel our energy, where we place our energy, where we focus our energy, all of that is sort of in the early part of the week, it's a little bit more open and willing to sort of move about more freely and at peace. We're going to get more into mentally, I want to say channeling it in a very specific way. We need to achieve what it is we want to achieve, or whatever changes we want to see take place, and allow that fire to drive us forward. We're going to see big changes by the end of the week, all dependent upon what we're focusing on and how much we're allowing spirit in to sort of assist us. But we have to remember to invite spirit in, grounding in the strength of our own energy, the ability of our own energy, the power, acknowledging the power of our own energy and what it is actually able to create is going to be key this week. okay? That's why last week's stone from Sunday was honoring. Like, we were honoring ourselves and all of the different things, stones that came up. Our own strength was on Saturday, was yesterday's stone, right? So if we were actually honoring and grounding in that strength, we should have an awareness of it now so that we can utilize that strength within our own energy and start to acknowledge the power and the capacity we have to create. We get to make the decisions here. Nobody else has to. We get to. And then Spirit will help facilitate the movement of those decisions if we ask for them. So get about asking, guys. All right, so that is your forecast for this week. I'm sorry if it was a little bit esoteric or weird. I hope it made sense. Please let me know in the comments if it did. We will watch this unfold and see what goes on with this energy throughout the week and see what changes do take place and what sort of energies are aiding or blocking this movement for some of us. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the forecast. All right, have a great week, and thank you for tuning in. All right, bye-bye.